If you've ever wondered if you should be eating organic or to avoid GMOs, then don't worry, you're not alone. At the beginning of our own wellness journey, all that we want to do is basically learn how to properly take care of our own body, and we want to have the right information. We want to know what's good for us, what's bad for us, and out there is so much information which can feel very confusing and very overwhelming. I do find that the information that we can find on the internet these days can be also very fear-based, which is not great to have a good relationship with food, which is a key point in trying to become a healthier person. So this video was made to help you feel informed and not paranoid, and also to provide you with some very actionable and accessible tips and tricks to make organic eating more doable for you, more feasible, and without breaking the bank. Alright, so let's start with the basics, because when you're trying to make healthier food choices, it really helps to understand what we are actually talking about and what we are actually choosing between. So what's the difference between organic, conventional, and GMO foods? Let's begin with organic. When we say a food is organic, we're talking about how it was raised or grown. Organic farming is really about working with nature and not against it. It's an agricultural system that respects the living organisms like the microorganisms and the plants and the animals. It respects the cycles of nature, and it doesn't use anything that is harmful or artificial. So organic foods are produced without synthetic pesticides or herbicides, chemical fertilizers, antibiotics, growth hormones, irradiation, and GMOs depending on your country's standards. Organic farmers have to follow a very strict set of rules of things that they can and cannot do in order to gain their certification and also to keep it. With that said, some organic and plant-based pesticides are actually allowed in the organic labels, but they are generally way less harmful for the environment and the ecosystems. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, we have conventional food. Conventional farming is all about productivity. It focuses on high yields, speed, and efficiency, but often at the expense of natural rhythms. So in order to boost their production, conventional farmers actually use synthetic herbicides, pesticides and fertilizers, antibiotics and growth hormones, as well as sometimes, but not always, GMOs. These foods might also be treated after harvest with things such as irradiation, waxes, or synthetic preservatives in order to kill the bacteria and to extend their shelf life. Now let's talk about GMOs. GMO stands for genetically modified organisms. It means that the DNA of an organism, such as a plant, a microorganism, or an animal, has been altered in a lab using genetic engineering. This can be done for a few reasons: either to remove a trait considered undesirable, or to enhance a natural trait that's underperforming, or to add a brand new trait entirely, like making a plant resistant to pests and herbicides. Adopting healthier habits is not about being perfect, and I really want to drive that point home because my younger self really needed to hear it. However, by saying that, I just really don't want to downplay either how much these choices can have a meaningful impact on your health and the environment. Here are a few key benefits of eating organic. Benefit number 1: healthier crops and soils. Organic farming nurtures the earth naturally by using things such as compost and seaweed in order to boost and enrich the soil naturally. And in turn, this creates a very rich soil that even some studies have made the link between a richer soil and a richer produce. And also, just a quick note here, all of the studies that might be mentioned in this video are actually linked within my blog post that you can find in the description down below. Benefit number 2: more nutritional. Now, some critics may say that there's not enough evidence out there in order to say that organic eating is more nutritious than, say, conventional eating. But actually, some research paint a very different picture. For example, one analysis that was made in France, which is where I'm from, hence the little accent, found that organic vegetables had significantly more minerals like iron, calcium, and magnesium, and even fewer nitrates, which in excess might be harmful for us. So yes, by eating those organic leafy greens and berries can actually help you have more good nutrients within you. Benefit number 3 is better for the animals. When it comes to animal products, organic farming puts a real emphasis on animal welfare. Animals are raised with access to fresh air and to pasture and natural feed. They are not crowded into stressful and unnatural conditions. Benefit number 4, fewer pesticides equal less toxic load. Organic food is grown without synthetic pesticides, of course. So it means for us less exposure to things that can disrupt our hormones or things that can just build up in your body over time. One study found, and this one is really mind-blowing for me, okay? By just 1 week of eating mostly organic food, it reduced the pesticides levels that was found in those people's urine samples by 90%. 90% in 1 week. And also, while most governments do regulate the pesticides levels for their citizens, concerns do remain. Because what about the long-term exposure to lower dosage of those pesticides? It may have effects that we don't fully understand yet. I want to do a quick pause here just to mention to you that I actually created a little gift for you that is linked down below that you might find actually helpful on your wellness journey. So don't forget to grab it before you go. For the better part of my about decade-long wellness journey, I felt very stressed and very anxious around food. I was really on high alert around what I was putting inside my body and even on my skin. So if you're feeling the same way, please remember that you need to remove that pressure from yourself. You need to stop to want to do it all at once. I totally get your feeling of urgency. Actually, what's going to have the highest impact is to just do baby steps. Everyone doing a little thing has far more impact than you trying to do everything perfectly. Tips to shop organic and GMO-free on a budget. Even with the best intentions, organic eating is actually more expensive, but there's good news for you. Eating more organic doesn't always have to go beyond your budget. It's just about shifting little things in your shopping habits. Number 1, join a CSA or a local farm box. Personally, I subscribe to Lufa Farms, which is not sponsoring this video. However, I wouldn't say no to that because I freaking love this. Your organic food is delivered right at your door. It makes your life so much easier. I just really love that, especially for me as an introvert who doesn't really like to go out to buy stuff. I like to order stuff and to don't have to move from my home. Number 2, shop your local farmers markets, and you can find it often at better prices there. Also, a very cool thing that you can do is, for example, in the summer or in autumn, you can go to organic farms and pick up your own fruits. One thing that I find really amazing with that is that you get to have a lot of organic fruit that you get to bring back home, and then you can just freeze it and have it for the rest of the winter. Also, one thing that you have to know is that actually a lot of small farms, like small family-owned farms, don't actually have the budget to afford the organic certification, but they actually do the practices that are demanded in order to have these labels. Number 3, grow your own food, even just a little. If you have a garden, then you're really lucky because you have a little bit of space to grow your own organic foods. But you can also do that if you have a little balcony like us, or even just a tiny little windowsill when you can have just a couple of herbs on it. Or you can also rely on your community. Say if you have a nice neighbor who is growing organic stuff, you can have it maybe at a discount. Number 4, buy in bulk. You can stock up on organic pantry staples like grains, legumes, and canned goods. And by doing that, you can actually save a lot of money over time, especially if you buy from places like Costco, or even if you stock up on a few store brands when they are in sale at your local grocery store. Number 5, buy frozen organic foods. Frozen organic fruits and vegetables are actually really nutritious, and they are way cheaper than buying fresh. I really love having them in my freezer. It's really handy. I can use them for smoothies or for a quick dinner when you don't have anything left in the fridge or you just can't be bothered. Also, organic frozen meat is a real staple here in our home. We tend to stock up on those when they are at discount, and then they stay in the freezer, and we have meat and also fish for weeks and weeks to come. Number 6, buy on sale and preserve it. When organic produce is on sale, you can also stock up on it, especially if it's in season. You can either freeze it, can it, or dehydrate it. Number 7, prioritize strategically. You don't necessarily have to buy everything organic, and of course, in an ideal world, everything would be organic, but in the world that we are living in right now, it might not be feasible to do it all the time. But what you can do instead is to focus strategically on the foods that matters the most. So basically on the foods that carry the heaviest pesticide load. Think of it as applying the Pareto law. 20% of your choices can remove 80% of your pesticides exposure. What to buy organic whenever possible. The Dirty Dozen is a list that is yearly updated by the EWG, and it highlights the top 12 fruits and vegetables to be the highest in pesticide residues. So here's a list of the ones that are coming most often throughout the years, but you can check directly on their websites for the most recent list. So here I have strawberries, spinach, nectarines, apples, grapes, bell peppers, cherries, peaches, pears, celery, tomatoes, and potatoes. The other one is lipids, so oils, butter, nuts, and seeds. Because actually most pesticides are fat soluble, meaning they tend to accumulate in fats and not in water. And also another tip with the oil, try to go with cold pressed extra virgin oil, especially for olive oil, but also for coconut oil. Next is animal products, so eggs, meats, and dairy. Organic animal products are not just about the pesticides. By choosing organic, you also avoid the growth hormones and the antibiotics, which means organic eggs, dairy, and meat is actually a wise investment, even if you can just afford 1 or 2 swaps. However, I totally understand if organic is too expensive for you for this category, try to find local farms that are having better practices. For example, they can be pasture raised, and they can also mention that they avoid antibiotics or growth hormones, and it's generally mentioned in the packaging. But just so you know, the most ideal for all those products are not only being organic, but pasture raised and grass-fed. It's like the golden standard for all of this. Okay, now let's see what to buy GMO-free. So especially here in North America, GMOs are most often found in processed foods, especially those made with corn syrup, soy lecithin, canola oil, and beet sugar. So unless labeled otherwise, these are typically made from GMOs. Then we have animal products via feed. Most GMO crops on the market are actually made to feed the farm animals. So when you eat conventional animal products, you may be indirectly consuming GMOs. So how to avoid GMOs? To be really sure that you're avoiding GMOs, try to look for an official certification. So you really need to look at your specific certifications within your own country and do your own research on that. Now remember, this is a journey and not a race. So start small and focus on what is the most impactful with the least amount of efforts possible. And also always give yourself grace along the way. Now, of course, going fully organic isn't always available for all of us, but you don't have to worry. It's actually better to eat conventional fruits and vegetables than to avoid them altogether just because they are not organic. But thankfully, there are actually simple ways to reduce the pesticide residues from the conventional fruits and vegetables that you're buying. The first one is the Clean 15. Each year, the EWG that I mentioned earlier with the Dirty Dozen generates a list of the Clean 15 as well. The Clean 15s are produce that tends to have way less pesticides residue within them when they are grown conventionally. So these are generally much safer to buy non-organic, which can really help you on your budget. So here's the most recent list as of the date of this video, but you can check out directly on their website for the most recently updated list. Here are the current Clean 15. Avocados, sweet corn, but choose tomatoes non-GMO, pineapple, onions, papaya, sweet peas frozen, asparagus, honeydew melon, kiwi, cabbage, mushrooms, mangoes, sweet potatoes, watermelon, and carrots. Then we have the washing method. Start by filling your sink or a large bowl with cold water, and then you can add 1 to 2 teaspoons of baking soda or vinegar. Then you soak your produce for about 2 to 5 minutes, and then you rinse them well under running water using maybe a scrubber if needed. But just keep in mind that although yes, washing can help a lot, it doesn't necessarily remove the entirety of the pesticide residues, especially if the pesticide in question is a systemic pesticide, which means that it's a pesticide that absorbs deeper under the surface of your fruit or vegetable. And the last tip is the peeling method, because actually the pesticides are concentrated on the skin of the fruit or vegetable. Some studies actually say that peeling can be even more effective than just the washing method alone. But with that being said, when you're peeling your fruit or vegetable, you're removing a very important and often the most nutritious part of the produce. So if you're trying to keep the most of the nutrients within your food, it might be best to stick with the washing method using baking soda or vinegar and to keep the peel on. If you found that this video brought you a bit of clarity or even comfort on your wellness journey, then please give it a like so that I know that you find this type of video helpful and I can make more of them in the future. By the way, speaking of helpful, I have a little gift for you that is linked in the description down below, so don't forget to grab it before you go. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to activate the little bell to be notified when I upload another video in the future. I send you so much love and I see you next time. Bye!